Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sadgun Sangh 260th virtual webinar, LeaderSkills from the Navy. Good morning, respected Commander Deepak Adar. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, sir. How about me?
Okay. On behalf of entire ICS team, we are extending a warm welcome to you. It's an honor to have you with us today for special session on leadership skill for the Navy as we mark the Sadgun Sangh 260th event.
Thank you so much.
Agenda for Sadgun Sangh Meet. Virtual inauguration by Dr. Sundar Kataria, invoking the blessings of deity chanting of Gayatri Mantra, introduction of the speaker, presentation by Mr. Commander Deepak Adar, former Indian Navy officer as corporate HR leader, question answer session, closing session. Dr. Sundar Kataria, Chairman and Managing Director, ICS Group Companies. Sadgun Sangh, conceived and led by Dr. Sundar Kataria, driven with a mission to elevate the quality, safety, and environmental awareness level of industry. Sadgun Sangh is a series of educative, informative events aiming to eliminate professional and possible solutions to current issues of the industries and economy. Designation as organization. Chairman, Managing Director, International Certification Service Private Limited. Academic qualification, Mechanical Engineer AIM. Qualification on a doctorate, business management. Experience, nuclear rep. He started his career in building Indian first nuclear power plant at Rawalbhatta, Kota, Rajasthan. Oil as gas, EIL. He contributed in developing India's first oil as gas field at Bombay High since its inceptions. DNV. He was the head of industry of offshore development with DNV for 2 decades. ICS is a founder of the first Indian conformity assessment and inspection body known as International Certification Service Private Limited, which is a provider of total quality solution under single umbrella with a wide spectrum of service. Achievement and awards. Lifetime Achievement Awards of NACE Corcon received several national as international award.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाश.
Please join us for the recitation of Gayatri Mantra. Introduction of the speaker. Designation and organization. Commander Deepak Adar, faculty coach as partner, Pegasus Academy Consulting, former Indian Navy officer as corporate HR leader. Academic qualification, RIMC, Dehradun, BSc, JNU, MS, Defense and Strategic Studies, Madras University, Executive Management Program, XLR, Jamshedpur, Advanced HR and MDP, XLI, Research Scholar, XLI, Performance Management. qualification. 20 plus years in Indian Navy as a flight air arm pilot, commanded a warship MCM squadron and maritime air squadron led at aviation HR at MOD. 10 plus 10 plus years in corporate HR in OD transformation as LED roles. Partner as faculty at Pegasus, specializing in soft skills, emotional intelligence, threat-based learning. Published author, speaker, certified coach, and NLI, pursuing ICF. Award recognition. Delivered OD and LED projects for top corporate Microsoft, EY, Wipro, LST, BPCL, Indian Oil, etc. Guest lecture at IIM Lucknow. Co-authored Rigor and Value and Wisdom. Theatre actor. 50 plus shows appeared in Bollywood features, film as commercials. National level accreditation and polar player, IIMS Master Cup winner from former club champion at Noida Golf Course. So now, sir, I would like to take over the charge and you can start the session for the day. Deepak sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I'll start.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, wonderful. So good morning to everybody, and it's really an honor to be here in such an august presence. So it will not be really any lecture on leadership skills per se, no gyan that I have to give. All I'll do is I'll try and share my experience with you because I feel that leadership is something which has to be experienced and not something that is to be taught or learned from books. So how I plan to do it is that I'm going to just recount my life story, my experience, and then from that we'll take up particular instances and anecdotes, and we'll try and see if there is anything that we can take away from there. So as you just saw in the profile, so I went to a military college at the age of 11, and I did my schooling there. It's called RIMC in Dehradun. They have one child from every state that they take, and he's trained to join the National Defense Academy and join the armed forces. So that school is more than 100 years old. 1922 it was set up, and it was set up by the Prince of Wales, King George. And the reason why it was set up was that till then, the officer cadre or the leadership in the Indian army used to be all British officers, and the soldiers used to be Indian. So after the First World War, they realized that there is a requirement of Indian officers also to be there, because that's how the unit can become more effective. So at that time, they used to pick up, the princely states, all the Rajwadas. They used to come to that school and they used to be trained and they used to become officers. But after independence, because of the Rajwadas and all going, so they said that every state they'll have a competitive exam, and on competition based, one child from every state will be selected and will be trained in that school. So from there, I went to National Defense Academy, which again, all of you would be aware of, in Khadakwasla, Pune, where we train for all the three services, Army, Navy, Air Force. And then after graduating from there, we moved to our respective services. So I joined the Indian Navy. And then in the Indian Navy, I volunteered for the flying branch and I became a pilot. And that didn't mean that I didn't go on ships. So I had to do both the things. I had to be a seafarer. I had to be captain of a ship also and serve on board a ship. And similarly, I had to be able to fly a plane also. I did that for about 20 years. And thereafter, I went to XLRI Jamshedpur, which is the Mecca of HR, as they call it. And I did my management specialization in human resources. And what excited me the most was performance management, how to make an organization perform, and organization is people. So how do you make people perform to their potential? From there, I moved to the corporate, where I was a practicing HR. I was heading HR for a couple of companies. And then after a while, I realized that, when you are HR in a company, your sphere of influence remains only limited to that company. So I moved to training, because as a trainer, you have multiple companies who come to you and you conduct programs for them. So your sphere of influence increases. So I was with this organization called Pegasus Academy and Consulting, and I did lots of programs for corporates and public sector undertakings for students, IMs, and then thereafter I decided to take retirement from active work, and I became a executive coach. So I now do one-on-one coaching with executives to help them achieve whatever they would like to achieve. And also I was very interested in theater, so I started doing theater. I've been performing all over the country. There's with a group called Ruchika Theatre Group. The director is Mr. Faisal Al-Qazi. His father, Ibrahim Al-Qazi, was the founding director of National School of Drama. And because of that, then I got a few breaks. I did a film, Bollywood film. I did a documentary film. Then I did some educational film, and now I've just done a short film. Today we are having the first screening of it in the evening, and this is going for the International Film Festival, and hopefully next year in the Cannes Film Festival, this film would be screened. So Sudesh and I are colleagues in a program called Spiral Bound, where I'm also learning screenwriting with Mr. Baman Irani. So Mr. Sudesh requested me that if I would join here and share my experiences. So here I am. So I'll start with my. So what we'll do is I'll keep it one way for about say another half an hour or so, and then we'll do some question answer sessions, whatever you like to know. So the start when the school and the academy was there, that time leadership, what it was based on purely role modeling. So anybody in that team, because all of us were from almost the same age, we had the same qualifications, we had the same experience. So how does one emerge as a leader compared to all others? So in that, what was what I found was the role modeling, that anyone who was that kind of a person, that when you looked at that person and you said, I want to be like him, so that is what automatically put that person in a exalted state, where everyone followed him and everyone wanted to be like him, and so therefore whenever he said anything, people followed. So these people used to become what we call them as appointments. Like in school you call prefects, so like that in a military school, they are appointments, and they also have a lot of power in terms of ensuring that the discipline in the organization is maintained. And it was a very impressionable age, and I still remember all those boys whom I'd seen then and who were my role models, and they deeply impacted me and influenced the way I went on. So apart from what my parents did in my parenting and upbringing, I think those people played a very big influence in my life. So, and before we really start talking about leadership per se, I think we need to be able to define it, and so that we know we are talking about the same thing. So, a leader is, a designation. When you are put in a position where there are subordinates with you, and they have to follow you, and they look up to you to help them achieve the group task or an organization task. However, leadership is different from that. Leadership is a behavior. So, leadership is the qualities that you exhibit, and you don't have to be in the position of a leader to be able to exhibit leadership qualities. So that's like, for example, as I said about the school and the academy, uh, all those people, they were not initially in leadership positions, but yet they exhibited leadership qualities, and it was because of that that those people became appointments or prefects or whatever it is. So leadership is very distinct from leader. There can be a leader who may not have very many leadership qualities. He just happens to be in a position of authority because of anything. It could be because of just sheer birth, that he was born in a family entitled, and so he you see that in political organizations also, where they come and become the head of the party, just because of no competence, but just because of sheer birth, accident of faith, or for example, king and of countries and things like that. Whereas so they may not have leadership quality, and yet they are leaders. So leadership qualities, what they are, I think that's what we will try to find out as we go along in this talk. So the next myth that I would like to break before we start is that people say in the armed forces leadership is very easy because it's a very disciplined organization. There is a very clear structure. People are very obedient. You tell them to do something, they'll just do it, and so big deal. Whereas probably in the private sector or in the corporate, it's not easy to be able to make people work or something. So I just want to tell you a simple thing. In the armed forces, what is at stake is not an increment or not a performance appraisal. What is at stake is your life and the life of your teammates. And believe you me, just because I am the boss, and if I just tell someone go and do something which he knows is going to probably end up killing him, he's not going to just be obedient, and just because there is discipline and organization, he'll blindly do it. You have to really earn your respect for people to follow you. So I mean, that myth needs to be from academy, when I joined the Navy. So as I said, you do get authority by virtue of the rank that you wear. So I became a sub lieutenant and I got posted on a ship. Now there, just because you wore that rank on your shoulder, so all the sailors, the men who were under you, they saluted you, whenever you came and went. But that did not necessarily mean that they respected you and they had accepted you as a leader, and they would do whatever you tell them, especially when it comes to putting their life at stake or limb at stake. And a ship is a very small place. It's a very confined space. So you are living inside, and you are seeing, when you are out at sea, you are just seeing each other's faces up close and personal, almost 24/7. So probably even your family doesn't know you as well as those people get to know you, because you are constantly there, stuck together. And they see you in every shape. They see you without your clothes when you go for a bath in the bathroom, because it's all a common kind of a place. And similarly, whatever clothes you are wearing wherever, or however you are groomed and how you conduct yourself. And similarly on the ship, there is a you know you also have your seniors. There's the captain, there is the executive officer, there are other senior officers, and when you get posted to the ship, you are the junior most officer. And yet all the men who are there, you are supposed to command them and lead them. So they observe you very closely, your personal conduct, how you deal with your seniors, how you respect your seniors. Because if you are going to be rebellious and you are going to be disrespectful to your seniors, and then you expect that your subordinates should be respectful to you, I think that is asking for too much. So you have to lead by personal example. Similarly, what whatever is the task that you are given, how well do you do it? So the captain will either praise you or he is going to admonish you for that. And when he does that, everybody is watching and they know कि आप कितने पानी में हैं. And it is only after you have proven yourself established that they know that yes, this man can lead us in war, and we can trust him, and they would do anything for you. So it's a very hard earned position, and it's a lot of hard work, and there is no book which tells you how to do it. So what usually is the practice is that first and foremost is you need to get to know your team. So the moment you come, you get to ask each person his name, and individually when you meet them and you interview them, you ask them where do they come from, and you ask them about their family, their educational qualifications, what was his motivation to join, what are his interests. So you get to know that person, and where exactly he's coming from. And I think more important as a leader is that when you get to know what motivates the person, then you are able to press those buttons so that you can get that person to perform. So for that to happen, unless you don't know that person personally, it will be very difficult for you to be able to really motivate that person. And I think motivating him is the most important job that you have as a leader. In fact, say that a leader is a person who makes his team do what is required to be done as if they want to do it and not that it is a requirement on them. So that person who can make everybody work as if there's this lovely story I had heard. So there were these three people who were sitting, and they had got a rock and a chisel and a hammer in their hand, and all three of them were at it, hammering the hammer on the chisel and on the rock. And they were there was a construction happening on the side of a temple. So a man passed by and asked that first person, Ki, what are you doing? So he said, I'm hitting the rock on the I'm hitting the hammer on the chisel, and I've placed the chisel on the rock. So which is a fair definition, because that's exactly what he was doing. So he asked the next person, what are you doing? So he says, I'm breaking this rock. So which is true. I mean, while the hammer on the chisel is finally ending up breaking the rock, so that's what he said. He asked the third person, what are you doing? So he says, I'm building a temple. So the motivation of those three people you can make out just by that man, he says, मेरा काम तो सिर्फ हथौड़ा मारना है चिजल पे, and chisel on the rock. Rock टूटे या ना टूटे, it doesn't matter. मैंने तो अपना काम कर लिया. I did what I had to. The other one says कि मेरे को पत्थर तोड़ना है, अब वो कैसा टूटे, how does it matter? Whereas the third person says that मैं मंदिर बना रहा हूँ, तो जिस आस्था से वो उस काम को कर रहा है, that quality that he is going to be delivering to the job. So you can imagine what is going to be the output. So a good leader is that person who is able to get everybody to that sense of purpose together, that hum mandir bana rahe hain. Or like in the armed forces, we say we are fighting for the country, or for the desh ki izzat, ya jahaz ki izzat, paltan ki izzat. So that's what is the job, for which, unless you don't know your men well, and you don't care for them, and they don't feel that you care for them, then they are not going to respect you, and they'll not be operating on the stage of ki main mandir bana raha hu. So as I was saying that because you are very, very exposed in a ship, because it's a small place, so every behavior of yours gets copied, and there is also a role modeling that happens. So मैं एक एपिसोड बताता हूँ. I was commanding a small minesweeper in Cochin, and there was a training ship, INS Tir of the Indian Navy, where the cadets are trained to become officers. So there is this jetty, and that ship was on the other side, and I was in this side, and I was looking through the porthole at the other ship, and I wanted to speak to the one commander on that ship. For some administrative work, you had to have sentries on that jetty, and सबकी बारी बारी से ship से होती थी. तो हमारे ship की बारी आ गई थी, जो गलती से आ गई थी, actually किसी और ship की होनी चाहिए थी. And since that commander was from the senior ship, he was the coordinator, and he was the one who would give the routine कि कौन सी ship का कितने बजे से कितने बजे sentry आएगा. So I just wanted to speak to him to say that, sir, हमारा आपने गलत दिखा दिया, हमारी शिप उस टाइम पे सेलिंग पे जाएगी, तो किसी और शिप का होना चाहिए. So I picked up the phone and I called up. तो वहां पे वो गैंगवे होता है जहां से you climb and get down the ship. तो वहां पे वो फोन बजा, and the duty cadet, he picked up the phone, and I could see him through the porthole, the window of my ship. So I said, I want to speak to Commander so and so. दोपहर का टाइम था, and he was just stepping out and wanting to, probably going home for lunch or something like that. So that cadet put the phone, and he went to him. I couldn't hear because it was, about say 20-30 meters away. So, and that person told him something, and then he walked out without answering the phone. And this cadet came back, and he picked up the phone, and he said, sir, he has left. He's not on board. So I asked this boy his name, and I said that, okay, whenever your duty finishes, I want you to come across and come and meet me in my ship. So then, when his duty finished, he came to my ship. So I made him sit down. I gave him a glass of beer, And then I told him, I said, I have called you. Why? Because I just want you to know that, while he is a senior officer on your ship, but he asked you to lie. I mean, you had already spoken to him. He was there. He didn't want to take the call. So he said, tell him I have gone, whereas he was still there. So I said, I just want you to know that that's not a correct thing to do. And when you grow up, it should not be that because you saw, your senior do that, so you think that, that's the right thing to do and you'll follow it, because, cadets are very impressionable young people. So even though it cost me a beer, and I don't even remember what was the name of that boy, but I felt it as a responsibility, because at the grooming stage itself, a person must, get the right values which are supposed to be, given to your subordinates. So one of the ways, in which you earn respect is that when you are asking people to do something, I'm talking about again from a naval point of view. So you should be able to do it yourself, and you should be able to do it better, so that when you are telling someone, and then you are passing judgment on him, you are able to, you are justified in doing that. Because if you yourself can't do it, it's something like, you go for a run, and you come back, and you came last, and after that you are telling other people that you didn't run well. So unless and until you're not going to be right in front and leading, only then you can turn around and tell, you need to get fitter, and you need to, put in more exercise and things like that. So that's an extremely important part of, leading by example. Having said that, a ship is a very complicated place. It's got everything. It has got guns that fire. It has got torpedoes, for submarines. It's got sonars and radars. It has got electronic warfare equipment. It has got a helicopter which flies. It has got an engine room with machinery which does the propulsion. It has got a, huge generators and electric power generation and distribution. So there are electrical specialists who handle power generation. There are mechanical engineers or marine engineers who do that. There are gunnery specialists. There are navigation specialists, electronic work. So, and one person can't be everything, and you can't know. So there is no denying that, you may have, and you would have people who are, in your team, who come with domain expertise which you may not have. So obviously, in those cases, you can't, really lead by example by knowing more than them, because there is a limit to how much you know. So in that case, for domain expertise, the most important thing is that you should respect that. You should, trust that person, know that, and let that person know that you trust him. And more importantly, you should also have curiosity, and ask that person that, okay, how do you do it, and what is this about, and what is this machinery, or what is that, anything. So when you do that, and that person sees, that you are interested in that, and you also appreciate what is the effort and degree of complexity in what that person is doing, so that you can help that person optimize. Like I was a pilot. Now, when you're operating from a ship, the captain of the ship may not be a pilot, and he doesn't know, what it takes to, fly an aircraft. So he'll say, okay, take off and go. Now, at that time, the sea may be very rough, and the ship is moving, rolling, pitching, and at that time, for an aircraft to be able to take off can be very dangerous. And similarly, after you finish the mission, when you're going to come back to land, and you're in the middle of the ocean, and because the sea is so rough, you might not be able to land that aircraft, which can, of course, loss of life, and loss of $1 billion machine. So you have to then tell your captain that, sir, it's not possible, and because it is very dangerous. So many a times he might say, so dar gaya kya hai? And you are scared, and that is something which, to a person from the armed forces, whether you're a pilot, sailor, soldier, anything like that, is something which hurts a lot, and the ego gets. But it's peacetime; it is not required, and if you're going to take such a risk and lose lives and machinery which is so expensive, so that's also not accepted. So therefore, it's important that when you take interest and show curiosity in trying to find out the complexities of your subordinates jobs that he's doing, you'll be able to respect it better, and you'll be able to then support that person better to be able to achieve whatever is expected to be done. So another experience which personally I've got from the Navy is that whenever you appreciate somebody from your team, you should appreciate him in public, in front of everybody. So what happens is that other people see, of course, they clap. That person also feels nice that amongst his peers that he's been applauded by his boss, and it inspires other people also that I also want to do well so that I also can get applauded. Similarly, when you are admonishing a person, so that should be done in private, because he should not lose the peer respect because of one job that he has not been able to do correctly. However, there are some things which are not acceptable, and when you want to pass a message for that, so that's the way it happens in the Navy. So when someone is being given a severe punishment, like for example, he absconded, ran away from the ship without permission, desertion, or overstayal of leave, that he went on chutti, was supposed to come back at a particular time and he didn't come, and so these are very serious offenses, because a ship is going to sail out, and you are expected that that person should be there by that time, and now he's not come. You can't wait for him, so the ship has to go on its mission. And when the ship goes and that person is crucial to some part, the ship will not be able to achieve the mission because of that person's absence. So and it's a warship, doing some mission for the country, and because of one man's mistake. So whether if he able to inform that something has happened, train has cancelled, I can't reach, or something like that, then one can make some kind of alternate arrangements. We can get a helicopter to pick him up, or anything like that. But that is because at least he has made all the endeavor to ensure that the captain is in picture. But if it is just out of lackadaisical, this thing ki dil nahi kiya aane ka, he had gone home and maan ne bola ki nahi mat jao, or whatever, and because of that, that person doesn't show up. So the tolerance to that cannot be there. So that time when punishment is given, and serious punishment is given for these kind of things, so that is done publicly and in a very big ceremony. So as the captain, you come, and all of them are wearing their ceremonial dress with medals, and you come with your sword and everything, and then it is announced that so and so on so and so date did this thing, in failed to report on duty on time, and something like that, and therefore, so then you say, okay, then awarded so many days, this loss of seniority, or whatever punishment that you are going to give, and his cap is removed, and captain, he was brought in with 2 escorts with their rifles, and then they march him away from there. So that becomes a message to everybody else that this kind of behavior is not going to be tolerated. So that may be a separate thing, but when you are not happy with someone's work, or you feel that he could do it better, and you want to just admonish him on that, then that needs to be done privately, because he should not lose face amongst his peers. So that's what would be my little takeaway from that. Then also now it comes to leadership style. So everyone talks about that this is my leadership style, that is my leadership style. So my personal belief, out of my experience, on ships, flying aircraft, in the corporate, has been that your leadership has to be dependent on the subordinate for it to be effective, and not that ye mera style hai and the subordinates have to adapt to my style. Okay, so that's why I say that it should be, in fact, there's a guy called Ken Blanchard who has come out with a model called the situational leadership model. So you have to adapt your leadership style to your team, and depending upon the circumstances. So he comes up with 4 major styles that you have. So the first style is called directional style. So that is typically, if we were to just take the this thing of parenting. So when the child is very small, so everything is done by the parents. The parents tell, don't do this, do this, do this like this. Whether it is eating food, or whether it is washing their hands, or whether it is walking. So you actually hold hands and walk along with that child, and you teach everything. So that is called directional. So whenever you have a new member who joins the team, who's a fresher straight from whatever engineering college or business school or wherever, so that time that person needs directional leadership, to be told what to do and what not to do. प्लग के अंदर हाथ नहीं डालना, करंट लगेगा. मट्टी नीचे पड़ी हुई चीज को नहीं खाना है, धो के खाना है, because the child is so small and doesn't know that. From there, as the child becomes bigger, or as the employee also gets more experience in the organization, you shift to coaching, where that person does something and the child does, and then falls. So you say doesn't matter and utho, and then you say isko aise karo, waise karo, and like that you help that child. But you're not constantly directing. You're allowing the child to do things on their own, use their own initiative, and the experience that they have got doing the same thing again and again, they are getting better and better. So you don't need to really hold the hand of the child. So same way with the employee also, you have to coach the person, tell them what to do, but you don't have to really hand hold. You can be there. From there comes the next one, which is called the supporting style, where the coaching also reduces, and all you do is encourage the person, applause, and tell that person that if you don't understand something, ask me, but otherwise, do it yourself. And that person will do that, and he'll bring it to you, and you look at the work and you say, okay, and this is what could have been done better, or that could have been done better, but good job, and that kind of thing. And then finally, from there, you move to delegation. So in delegation, you are hands-free, you trust that person, you let him be, and once you have delegated, then of course the responsibility overall still remains yours as the captain. But you have to trust that person, and that person has to know that the captain trusts me and does that job accordingly. So I'll just give you a small example again from my personal life. So I was flying a night sortie, and there was this young pilot who had just qualified his night with the instructor. And there are some circumstances, like when you are going for your first night solo sortie. So the moon, should be in a particular phase. It can't be dark moon, and the timing also should be such that the horizon, say the moon should be that much above the horizon, so that the horizon can be seen, and when the pilot is flying. Also, when the solo check happens, which is the test flight with the examiner, so after that, in the same night, the solo should happen. There should not be a gap between that. It's not that test आज हो गया और पास हो गया और उसके बाद कल या परसों आप वो solo sortie उड़ा सकते. So the situation was that it was the last day of that moon phase. उसके बाद वो moon जो है वो बिल्कुल पतला ईद का चांद टाइप बनने वाला था, and that was not enough for the solo night flying. And so this boy finished his examiner के साथ sortie, and that examiner came and told me कि आप इसको ले जाओ. So I was going as his safety pilot. So I was the co-pilot. He was the captain. He was sitting in the captain's seat, and I was sitting in the co-pilot seat. Of course, I was, much more experienced than him. So I was more of as a safety, but the idea was that I was supposed to be totally hands-free and let him fly. So we took off, and as we took off, one of our engines failed. So what happened is that you've got one engine on either side. So as the plane is going, one engine fails. So whichever side engine fails, the aeroplane starts turning in that direction, because thrust is from one side only and not from the other. Now it's dark, and as we took off, and there was sea in front of us, so you couldn't make out. I mean, if there was the city, there would still be lights and you're seeing them moving. But here he didn't realize. And, the aircraft had already turned completely back. So I suddenly asked him, I said that, have you realized where are you going? So he suddenly saw the compass. So he was supposed to be going north and he was going south. So he said, I'll, correct. And he tried to correct. So I said, wait. Then I showed him the dial where the engine RPM was there, and that RPM was showing 0. So I said, see this. So he saw that. So then he, usually what happens is we also for practice do something called simulation, where usually that is done by the instructor. So you put the throttle of one engine back. So the engine is running, but it's on idle throttle. So it is 0 thrust, but running engine. So he said, sir, are you simulating? So I said, no, I'm not instructor and I'm not simulating. And then I showed him that the engine RPM itself was 0. So that means the engine had shut down. So he says, oh, the engine has shut down. So I said, yes. So then he said, sir, you have the controls. So I said, no, you are the captain of the aircraft. You have the controls. So then I said, and you tell me what is supposed to be done. So then he was a little nervous, obviously. So I automatically started doing the duties that a co-pilot is supposed to do. So the first thing was to make a mayday call to the air traffic control. So I asked him, I said, shall I make a call to the ATC? So he said, yes, sir. So I immediately then gave a call to the ATC. So-and-so, Navy so-and-so, and we require priority landing with single engine failure. So then, finally we came and, cut this long story short, I'm here to tell the story. So we survived and the plane landed. So after that, we had something which is called a board of inquiry. Anytime any near miss happens, we are lucky to have survived, otherwise it would have been a crash. So lessons learned. So in that, that pilot, said that I feel that, when I asked the captain to, the pilot who was more experienced to take over controls, he refused to take over controls. And I felt that because of that, he jeopardized the safety of the aircraft and my life. That's what I felt. And, I think that was a dereliction of duty. And as the more experienced pilot, he should have taken over when it was a life-threatening situation. So now I was called and the board asked me that, since you are the more experienced pilot, and thank God we have got a happy ending here, but, something could have gone wrong because this boy is, much less experienced than you, and in such a situation, you should have known. So that's the time. So when I said that, he was the captain of the aircraft. He had been examined, and that examiner had qualified him and deemed him fit to be able to fly that. So he had that faith in him. I said, therefore, when I'm sitting, while, even I feel that my life is precious to me. I don't want to, I'm not suicidal. And my instinct was also that since I'm more experienced, let me take over the controls and let me fly. But, I did not want to undermine this man's capabilities, that he is also capable of handling it, because he has already been qualified to do that. And this is just an opportunity for him to prove himself. Second is, I said that I'm sitting here and I'm ensuring that he does not do anything wrong, because I'm observing, because obviously I'm not going to close my eyes and say, iska kaam hai, koi baat nahi. And I said that, suppose I would have taken over controls. Now this boy, because he knows that it's a life-threatening situation, he would not be monitoring me to ensure that I don't make any mistake, because he would think, sir to experienced hai, unke paas to hazaron ghante ka experience hai, main to barely 50-60 घंटे हुए, तो मैं इनको क्या बताऊंगा कि ये क्या सही या क्या गलत कर. तो वो तो उस टाइम पे probably आंख बंद करके और प्रार्थना कर रहा होगा भगवान को कि बचा लो, rather than both of us, flying the aeroplane together. So I said that's why I felt that, he was on the ball. So there were 2 pilots available in the cockpit. And if I would have taken over, I fear that there was a chance that maybe there would have been only 1 pilot in the cockpit for decision making. And, maybe whatever I would have told him, he would have followed my instructions, of course. But when it comes to applying the mind, zaruri nahi hai ki I'll not miss anything. So when two people are there in a situation of stress and both of them are applying their minds, the probability of an error becomes less. So I think that's where this whole delegation thing comes in. So that was a life-threatening situation, and yet because this person was competent and he handled it, and I was there, and he managed to land it. Great. But I find that in corporates where the risk is not even that high, where yet when people have delegated, they wait for the first opportunity to hold back and want to do it themselves. So I think when you delegate, the requirement of having that faith in your person is extremely important, because that is how that person will rise to the occasion. So and finally, okay, cutting the whole story short, I think leadership, you can't really learn by reading books. I think leadership is something which is very experientially learned. Uh, so there are some things which are explicit and there are some things which are implicit. So implied but not said, and some are which are said and to be understood as they are said. So leadership, you feel that, like when you look at a person, you've had so many bosses. There are some of them that you admire, and some of them that you don't, and you say bad boss to have, and I wouldn't want to be a boss like that. So I think that's the way to go about it. That when you look at someone who's your boss, and if you say that you like that person, then you should try to reflect and say, what is it in this person that I like? So that automatically becomes a good leadership trait, because as a subordinate, you are experiencing that. Similarly, if there is something that you don't like, so or you don't like that person, then you must try to find out, why do I not like this person? So like you might say, he's a micromanager. He's constantly चिक चिक करता रहता है, बीवी से भी वो ज्यादा nag करता है मेरे को, that kind of a thing. So that means that person's ability to delegate is not there, especially when you feel that you are competent and मुझे करने दो मेरे अपने आप. So I think that's the way to go about it, that every time you experience a leader, try to learn from them what worked, what worked for them, and what didn't work for them, and try to apply it in your life. And I think that would be the best leadership class, rather than a lecture like mine. So I guess I'm done. I've finished my half an hour, 35 minutes, and I'm open to questions from anybody. No questions means either सभी कुछ समझ में आ गया, nothing, और कुछ सुना ही नहीं. So let's hear something at least.
I request each and every participants, if you have any questions, you can please kindly unmute yourself and you can ask the questions.
Yeah, you'll have to permit them to unmute. Riya ko, please. Or rather, I think you can just permit everybody so that they can keep unmuting themselves as required.
Also, we will do that. Just a minute, sir.
Yeah. And whenever you are asking a question, if I could see you on camera also, it would be wonderful. It's not very motivating and exciting to speak to a blank screen. Yes, Riya.
Good afternoon, Commander. It was really nice hearing you. In fact, experience are more better than a slide presentation or theoretical, because experiences give you real life, how you handle things, and leadership keeps requiring experiences more than theory as such, which you would agree.
Absolutely.
My question is, it happens that many a times in a group, one of the group member is promoted as a leader, but it happens that the acceptability of him as a leader and the support required for him to get the things executed. 1 point. Second, the leader himself also finds it difficult to command or get the things done what in his leadership role from his own friends where he's been enjoying yesterday or making fun as such. You understand what I'm trying to say? So how do you handle such a situation?
Yeah. So that's a very, very good question. So unfortunately, in organizations, what happens is that when people are promoted, they get promoted based on probably their performance. Now, what happens is, as an individual contributor, if I'm very good, does not necessarily mean that I have the requisite leadership skills. Correct. So what will happen is that because as an individual contributor, you have promoted me as a reward for my contribution and good work, so you have now put me in a position where I'm not competent because I don't have the requisite skills. So ideally, what happens and what should happen in good organizations, as an HR consultant also we used to try to do that, is that you identify people who are going to be, you intend to promote. And then you put them through some kind of workshops, etc., for them to be able to understand. It's we used to have this program called First Time Managers and FTM, and we used to also call it First Time Mothers, because nobody prepares you for that. There is no book, and everybody, however, is capable of becoming a manager, becoming a mother, the same way, and it's a tough job.
Very good comparison.
Yeah. So that's why it's always helpful if one could. So earlier, probably you had joint families, so you had the mother-in-law or elder or someone to help you navigate. They would take things from there. You would observe them and learn. But now with nuclear families and everything, that is also not available to them. So it becomes a very big struggle. So same way, even when it comes to leadership, and so we throughout our lives are competing. Throughout, you have to get more marks in class, and then you have to get a good college, and then more marks there to get a good job, and only the best will get that one job. So you are constantly competing with each other, and then suddenly you end up in an organization where you are all supposed to collaborate and work together as a team, and there is a larger goal which you have to meet together than yourself, kind of a thing, which is very contra-intuitive, because all your life you have been told that you have to come first and not show what you have done, and all those kind of things. And then all of a sudden now here you are saying you are supposed to collaborate with everybody, and no one taught you how to collaborate. And sadly,
that's the main thing.
Yeah. And then the other thing that has happened is that, again, because the force is so much on marks and on academics and things like that. So earlier, as I was, that implicit thing that I was talking about.
Same hai,
so yeah, I think somebody's mic.
So when this,
I request everyone to mute themselves who are not a part of the talk at the moment. Let me hear Commander very well. Yes, sir, please.
So that implicit leadership used to come through sports. So like when you played football or basketball or something like that, so that was the time when you collaborated, because the whole team's purpose was to score a goal and win the match and things like that. So many a times, rather than personal glory, you would pass the ball to someone so that that person can score the goal so that we can win the match. But unfortunately, today sports have also taken a backseat, and everybody is so focused on academic performance and all those kind of things that one loses this opportunity of learning leadership, and practicing leadership. So I guess that's one of the major challenges. And I think a good organization should, because then you are setting up this poor person for failure, because this person never got an opportunity, and he's a good performer because he did his job well. And now that that person has been promoted, but you have not equipped this person to be able to do that. So you can have a first time manager program kind of a thing, where that person experiences these things firsthand, and then goes on to next is, as I was saying, like in school, the prefects and also now you are same peer group and one person has been elevated. Correct. So now, till yesterday, they were your friends with whom you were backslapping and everything, and today you have become TL and they are supposed to listen to you and things like that. Correct. So for that, obviously, if you are going to be a role model, so so it is your job which you have been doing well, because of which you have been recognized and you are, you have been promoted. So that role model thing, one must try to get so that other people respect you for that, and your acceptability in your peer group remains when you go, because they respect you. So I think that's the because just by giving a designation as TL, and for expecting people are going to just obey you because of that or something, that's not happening. So organizational support is required by providing you training and opportunities to hone your skills, and probably even coaching sessions and things like that. And uh, I think what you call individually also, you should have your this thing of trying to be a role model. I think that's the best way.
Self-motivation is first required, because
Absolutely. So, I mean, leader, there is no one there to motivate the leader. The leader has to motivate the team. And if there is someone in the team who's demotivating, you have to be able to, prevent that demotivation from spreading across the team. And you have to be able to, do what you can to identify and, get that person out from preventing it. So I'll just give you again another example now that you spoke about that. So, when I was commanding the squadron, I had this pilot who joined my squadron. And so he used to fly fighter jets earlier. And but he had some issues, aptitude, and this thing, he couldn't keep up. So they transferred him to the Maritime Reconnaissance Squadron, which is what I was flying. So that was a single pilot aircraft, and this was a multi-crew aircraft. So they felt that he was unfit to fly a single pilot because it could be very risky for him. Whereas if it is multi-crew, there is some semblance of supervision which will be there, so it will be safer. And since the country had already spent, so much of money to train that boy, so they didn't want to lose out a pilot. So he came to my squad. Now, when he came with a chip that I'm a fighter pilot, and I this thing, and you guys here and you guys there. So he didn't gel with the organization. So my second in command came to me and said, "Sir, this guy is a problem creator, and he's constantly demotivating other people and telling you guys, and I came from and we like this." And so I said, okay. So I took this boy and I told him, okay, you go on leave, and leave is paid leave, and it is not even being counted against your leave. You don't come to office. You'll get your salary at home. You stay at home, and you please do not come to office. And then what I did was I asked the team also. I said, nobody will socialize with this boy. Okay, don't mix around with him. Let him be, because he does not feel part of us, and he shows us down. So if that be the case, and he doesn't want to embrace us, so we don't have to make him unnecessarily feel welcome or anything. Just see through him. Don't be rude or don't be aggressive towards him. Just consider that he does not exist. Persona non grata. So that happened for about a week. My second in command kept coming to me and saying, "Sir, आपने तो उसको reward दे दिया for this thing. उसको काम भी नहीं करना पड़ता, मुफ्त की तनख्वाह मिल रही है," and all those kind of things. So I said, let's just give it some time. It doesn't happen. And sure enough, less than 10 days from that day, that boy came into my office and he was crying. And he said, "I'm sorry." And he says, "Sir, please, don't do this to me." Because he felt so, we all want to belong to a team and organization. We have an identity that comes from there. And when your peers and the team does not accept you, then you really lose that sense of identity, which is extremely important to a human being. So as a leader, again, that's the whole challenge, that you have to see who's the troublemaker and try to get that person to the thing, so that he does not demotivate the team, because motivating itself is so difficult. And if you've got some negative person who's trying to spread negativity within the organization, then it becomes more complicated.
Rightly, sir.
I hope that,
rightly, because the negative energy has to be removed first, then to get in the positive energy everywhere.
Absolutely.
Very rightly said. Thank you. Thank you, Commander. Thank you so much. I've got my reply.
Thank you, Ria. Thanks. Yeah, anybody else?
Good morning, sir. This is Delis here. I
Hi,
first
Dallas.
thank you for such a wonderful session, to the point. Sir, my query is, like, in a leadership role, how much weightage should be given to the empathetic aspect while carrying out a leadership, job or whatever it is? So how much do you think an empathy factor should be there towards your team?
Superb. So there is this task orientation and there is this people orientation. And unfortunately, both of them appear to be operating in conflict with each other. Because if you're going to be total people oriented, then it can be at the cost of the task. And similarly, if you are going to be purely task oriented, then it can be at the cost of people. Now, sadly, you can't be either or. It can't. So if you're going to be only people oriented and there is no task only being performed, then the reason of the organization or the team is lost. Because what are you there for? Unless and until it is a pure welfare organization where all you are doing is just that. So as corporate people or in any other organization which has got a role, a goal, so that goal is also important. So I think it's a little difficult one to answer, but how I used to do it was this. Every mission I would see whether because every flying mission is life and death here. So when I'm talking about people orientation, I'm not talking about basic empathy of that person feeling happy or not. I'm talking about that person being alive or dead, kind of a thing. So when I'm sending that person on a mission, so you have to see how critical is it. Every mission does not deserve that kind of level of this thing where you can lose a life or limb or get injured or something like that. However, there are some missions where life and limb has to be put subordinate to that because there is a larger purpose that you have to achieve. So if a leader is going to be operating only in one sphere, which is purely empathetic and not have any task orientation, so that leader will also fail. And if the leader is going to be purely task oriented and not care about their team members, then that leader will also fail. It has to be a balance that you have to. So I think negotiating is a important part. So if you are starting off as an empathetic person, as they say, love begets love. So like that, empathy also begets empathy. So now when I am the leader, so I say, see, I am in a position where I'm as the manager and it's a role. So as a human being, I'm Dilis and you are who and we are. But this organization has given me a job like it has given you a job. So it's not that I am your boss, but I have got this job to perform for which we have got this team and you are part of that. So whatever I can do to take care of your and what is in my power, I will ensure that I can provide that to you. And I'm empathetic. But you also need to be empathetic to me because for the team to succeed, if the team fails, I take the hit. The buck stops here. So, it's a mutual trade-off. What's in it for me kind of. So I scratch your back, I take care of you. But in return, I expect you to do your job for the organization because again, it's the I also on behalf of organization only can take care of you, isn't it? Whether it is the salary you are getting, whether it is the benefits you are getting, whether it is, the working hours that are there, whatever are the things, finally, it is the organization which is providing. As your team leader, I may be able to have leverage with HR or something to ensure and provide them to you. Correct? So it's the organization doing it for you and you need to give back to the organization. So it's like that President Kennedy's favorite, this thing, ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. So that's the way you have to, I think, take your team. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for the clarity. Thank you very much for the wonderful session. Great respect, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else?
please kindly unmute yourself. If anybody has a question, we'll take a last question. If anybody has a question, please kindly, or else we can move towards the closing part. So we'll consider there are no questions. So,
So I have a question.
okay.
Yes, please. Vijay.
My name is Vijay Vishwakarma.
Yeah, hi
Sir, my
Vijay.
question is, while leading a team of domain experts for a leadership role, as a leadership role, what impacts a lot? Is it a pitch, motivation, mental toughness, or the attire of the leader?
Yeah, so you'll need to reframe it a little, this thing, because I've not been able to really comprehend it. So I understand that you've got a team of domain experts, correct?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so now when you are leading them, the question is,
Since
you just come
technical
up with it
knowledge
again.
is not the leading part, then what should be the other things like pitch, motivation, mental toughness, and attire? What should be the
Superb.
main
Yeah,
impact part? Yeah.
lovely. So again, like if you were to see, say, take an airline. So the man
Yeah.
who heads the airline is not a pilot, or may
Yes.
not be a pilot, and yet the pilots fly the airline, for all
Right.
practical. So that yet those pilots follow the leadership of that person, and that airline grows and is better than another airline, or something like that. Correct. So
Right.
obviously that leader does not have technical knowledge or domain expertise of the same level as what every ordinary pilot would have. So I think
Right.
it's a combination of all these things. So the pitch, because you have to sell the goal to them
Yes.
and sell the purpose to them. So it's like I may not be a very good craftsman who's cutting that stone, because that
Right.
the person who is the doing that is a mason, and he's a karigar, and the hunar hai, that kind of thing. Whereas I may not have that. Correct.
Right.
But when I pitch it to him that it is a temple being made, and I'm able to motivate to him that he must build it with that kind of passion and this thing. And when I have the mental resilience in me, that when things are not
Yes.
going wrong, some challenges are coming, and whatever it is, I am able to not lose it myself, and I am able to keep my team together, and also and say it doesn't matter, and even with this setback, we'll still go ahead. So
Go ahead.
keeping that resilience up. So all of them, would certainly form part of it. So it can't
Yes.
be
Yes.
either or this more than that, more than that. All of them would be there.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
I
sir.
hope answers your question. Okay. I
Yeah.
hope you're satisfied with it.
Yes, definitely, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yeah. Anyone else?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. This side Anugrah.
Hi,
Are you
Anugrah.
able to hear? Yeah.
I can hear you, but I can't see you. If you can switch on your camera, it would be lovely.
Sure.
Yes, Anugrah Joy Robert. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, my question is, if things are not going according to you, if you are a leader, then how you can motivate yourself?
Yeah. So self-motivation is, I think, one of the leadership qualities. So when I was saying leader and leadership, so one of the major leadership qualities is someone who can keep himself or herself motivated. And I'm very sorry, I've been using him everywhere. No offense at all. It's just that, I came from a military background where at that time there were only women. So we always had men and, he and all those kind of things. So leadership quality, I think self-motivation is the most important. And I think it's a very tough one, because for each and every, you have to actually find out what motivates you. I think that's a very, very important. So if you can, really look within and find out what is your motivator, and if you have been able to identify it out of reflection, then I think you need to write it somewhere in your workstation, or in your, what you call screensaver of your phone or something, that every time when you look at it, that motivator thing is there for you to keep yourself motivated. Because if you lose your motivation, the entire team will lose the motivation. That is no doubt about it. It is very, very infectious. So keeping your motivation alive. So another thing that also happens is that a lot of people have their own coaches or mentors, which is again a very important thing. So, and every time when you are feeling down or anything like that, you can immediately plug into them and seek energy from them and ask them that, I'm feeling like this and help me to recharge myself. So it could be a spiritual guru, it could be, a mentor from your office or anybody. But I think it's important. And I think just totally banking on yourself and saying I'll be able to do it myself may not be a good idea. It's always good to have a power bank where you can plug yourself in. That's my
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
welcome. Ungra. Yeah. Anyone else?
Hello, sir.
Hi. This
This
is
is Sanchi here.
Hi, Sanchi. Can you switch on your
Sir,
camera? I can't.
yes. Unfortunately, I can't just on the camera because there is one issue with the laptop right
No
now.
problem. Okay.
And yes, first of all, it is a treat hearing you. Like there was not even any eye-catchy presentation, but still I was not able to divert you in for a second. And
Thank you. Thank you.
yes, and my query is like, how do you prepare yourself mentally for any high risk mission? Like the profession you are being in, many life-threatening situations are now and then in front of you. So how do you deal with this panic calmly instead of not being in that panic mode?
Yeah. So I think that's not very easy and that requires a lot of training. So as I said, I went to a school itself at the age of 10, which was a military school. And then after that, I did my graduation from National Defense Academy. So that training is something that, it becomes second nature for you. And in that, I think, courage is about not being scared, but we that's an unfair thing to say that I'm not scared. It's a human nature instinct protection. Otherwise you are going to hurt yourself. So like Field Marshal Manekshaw, I don't know whether you heard of him or not. So he used to famously say that if somebody says that he's not scared, he's either a liar or he's a Gurkha, because his troops were all Gurkhas and Gurkhas were very brave. So, but yeah, I mean, I do a lot of self-talk. So, which is that I know that if I panic in the time of crisis, then certainly one thing that is going to happen is that my mind will freeze and I'll not be able to take a rational decision. So the first thing that you have to do is to have self-talk, which is don't panic, just within. And then instead of looking at the problem, you have to focus on the solution. What can I do now? So if I'm going to keep looking at what has happened, then what happens? I use this. I love this statement. What you focus on expands. So when you look at that circumstances or that situation which is life-threatening, the more you focus on it, the more larger and more scarier it becomes. Whereas if you start focusing on what can I do, what are my options, then your eyes will go away from the scary thing and you are going to be now trying to find out, okay, I can do this also, or I can do that also, or I can do that also, kind of a thing. And more doors and windows will open for you. So two things. One is self-talk, where you calm yourself down and you stay relaxed, don't panic, because panic doesn't help. I always say that if worry could help, I would love to sit with you, hold your hand, and let's worry together so that it can be sorted out. But sadly, that's not going to happen. So it is much better to, it's natural instinct to worry, but talk to yourself and say that, it's dysfunctional for me at this point in time. I need to focus on solutions at this point in time, and then start looking for solutions. That's the way it works for me.
Oh, yes, thank you. It was very well answered.
Thank you.
Any more questions? So I think so there are no more questions. So on behalf of entire ICS team, we thank you. Your distinct journey from serving the Indian Navy to leading transformative HRS LSD initiative to top corporates like Microsoft, EY, Wipro, L&T, BPCL, and Indian Oil. It's truly inspiring your academic excellence from RIMC, JNU, Madras University, etc., along with your rich experience as faculty, coach, researcher, and even the theater actor. A national level sportsperson make your presence incredibly valuable. We are grateful you for taking the time to share your insightful experience and wisdom with our participants today. Your perspective on leadership, discipline, character building will surely inspire and empower everyone present. Thank you once again, Commander, for joining us and enriching us with your knowledge.
Thank you so much for having me and for patiently listening to me. I sincerely hope that it was helpful. And notwithstanding this talk, because I'm a passionate coach and trainer in soft skills. So anytime anybody would have any kind of a doubt or something, my email ID, my number is available, and please give me a call or send me a message. I would love to be able to help someone, because I think the satisfaction that one gets when one sees someone else getting successful because of something that you have done, I think that beats everything. So thank you and all the best.
Thank you, Commander. Thank you so much. It was really
Thank
a
you
very
so much, sir.
enriching session. It helped us motivate
Thank you.
and face the day-to-day challenges as such.
Thank you. Thank you.
ICS is
Thank
pleased
you.
to provide you all a research and development integrated management system, QMS, EMS, OHES, excellence in education management, Gujarati, Marathi, Telugu, Hindi. For reading any of the above book, please contact Ms. Sushma Kindelkar. Feedback form. Please register on www.sadgun.org.go in your login and give us a feedback. Urja. About the author, Dr. Sundar Kataria. This book is designed to help you engineer a career of purpose, quality, and impact. As an engineer, you have a natural advantage. Your mind is trained to analyze, solve, and improve. By applying this same skill to yourself, I can build a career that is meaningful, resilient, and valuable. Just as a humanity has always pursued quality in its invention, you too can strive for quality in your life and career. With a clear vision, mission, and quality policy as your foundation, you'll have the tools and you need to engineer your life with the intention and purpose. Remember, as a member of Quality Spaces, we are here to seek improvement and excellence. This journey isn't just about book achieving success. It's about becoming the best version of yourself and profession and as a person. Feedback form. Please register on www.sadgun.org and go at your login and give us a feedback. Thank you for being a part of Sadgun.